I won't say little, huh? My Arpana, she did everything without even giving me a hint what is going on.
The nice thing is you don't ask questions. We said we're having people over. You said okay, and then you just walked away. That's it. You didn't ask who was coming.
You didn't give us a speech.
Yeah, no, first of all, before I do a toast to that, I want to thank everybody for coming. We're thrilled everyone's here, and actually the group that's assembled is quite remarkable. We have Phuphaji, who actually, I don't know if people know this, but I know you've told me this before, you danced at Mom and Dad's wedding. Oh. So I think the bonds and the ties.
United them.
Yeah, you were a matchmaker at.
Yeah,
And you were very, very young then. You would have been
United them.
And I know Krishna and Christine are here as well. There he is. And for those of you who don't know, I know when Krishna Uncle was here, he was a bachelor when he first met Mom and Dad. And I think that friendship would go back how many years? I can't even add that high.
1965, 66.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been long. And I saw a picture of Anil and my Chachi ji, of course, when you guys when you first arrived in Ottawa recently. That shared some pictures. 93. So it's amazing the span of friendships, family that we have represented here today. And I know Apoorv's here, who is my Daoji's grandson. Yes. And his new wife, who we're meeting for the first time. So welcome to Canada. Honeymooners, I guess, for first year. So it's amazing the people that came. I want to thank, there were a few of you who had to change plans to make it to tonight. So I really do appreciate you guys making the effort to do that. But that means a lot. And the last thing, I want to thank my wife, whose idea was to have the party and organize it and did everything else. And I keep telling her, how easy her life is, because she's got 4 adult men that she lives with, and life's pretty easy. She quickly reminds me that they tend to be 4 adolescent boys who have special requirements and needs almost every day, and somehow she manages to stick with it. So.
And she kept it so quiet that I did not know what's going on.
What's amazing about surprises are, usually after the surprise has been pulled off, people have these elaborate lies that they've had to tell. And with Dad, we just said,
He's so simple.
He's so simple, we just said we're having people over, and then we were like, well, we've got to get them out of the house before people come. Otherwise, it'll ruin the surprise, he'll hear. And so the lie that we told was, well, Arpi wants everybody out of the kitchen because she wants to set up and doesn't want anybody to mess up. So, of course, everybody, that was all it took. Scared everybody up. Dad was so scared he fell asleep and almost missed his own surprise party.
How was it now?
Anyway, it was good. But I did want to give a toast to Dad. Dad has been coming and staying with us for the winter months, usually for 3 or 4 months a year. And what's always amazing is, I think the one theme that I've always noticed is how he inspires us. And how he inspires us is in sort of 3 different ways that I've always seen. One is his routine. So if there's a person who knows routine, it's Dad.
Yes.
And the routine is, he wakes up in the morning, he listens to, I think, Mom's Budgeons in the morning, and then 9 a.m. sharp, he's downstairs. He's pre-soaked his almonds the night before. And there's usually 5 or 6 almonds that are pre-soaked, not more, not less. And so there's that, then there's the tea, and then it's all about, so the body starts working. While the body's in motion, Sudoku comes out. And I think I have a digital subscription to the Globe, and every day there's a Sudoku in that. And of course, Dad has my password, so he'll go on and he'll write down the Sudoku. And sometimes it takes you 10 minutes, sometimes it'll take an hour, but he doesn't get up until it's done. So that's why we have a cake sort of in honor of Sudoku. And then it's all about exercise, right? There's an exercise routine that goes into it, whether it's a 1 hour walk around the house if it's cold or in the neighborhood, that has to happen. And so I think the one inspiration I see is just the commitment to routine, and what that's allowed you to do from a health perspective, a mental perspective has been amazing. The second thing I would say that inspires me is how you prioritize things. Now, those of you who are retired, you have more time than the rest of us, so you have the flexibility to prioritize. Those priorities are very simple. It's family and friends come first.
Yeah.
And nothing interferes with those plans. So there's the 11 o'clock call that comes from Alka every day. And then, doesn't matter where he is in the house, whether it's in the living room or the bathroom. Generally it's on speakerphone, so the whole house hears the conversation, but that's never missed. I know there's a Wednesday lunch club that never gets missed. And like that, I know a lot of you spend time with him, and thank you for that, and I know he cherishes that. But what's clear is when it comes to priorities, friends and family are always first. So that's been interesting. I think the last thing that inspires me is, this one's tough to get out, but is his commitment to faith, and the faith and purpose in life. And one of the things he always says in Hindi is, and I'm going to probably mispronounce it and get it wrong, but jo likha hai wohi hoga, which means whatever's written is going to happen. And that belief, that commitment, that it's all written is actually very calming. And I see that in him, and for somebody who's very hyper in life, it's very calming and very inspiring. So, enough said with that. I would love to give a toast to someone who inspires us
Thank you.
every day today.
Cheers.
Happy birthday.
There you go.
Thank
The last thing you would notice on the Sudoku is it says Sudoku 1991. So the question is, how old is Dad? So, Indians are always a little ahead. So when he was born back then, they didn't have the same kind of computer systems that they do now. And so people would eventually get to, after 2 or 3 years, registering their child's birth certificate. And they were always smart. They said, well, in India back then, I understand, they had a mandatory retirement. So if you said your kid was 1 year younger, they could work an extra year. And so that's why legally Dad is 90. So if you ever meet a government official, Dad is 90. But in actual fact, he's 91.
That's why the cake is 90/91.
Now, what he didn't realize, I guess my grandparents didn't realize, is he'd be coming to Canada. So unfortunately, his old age pension started 1 year later. Anyway, that's an explanation for the cake. All right, so there we go. Now we should dig into the dessert and cake.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
You became in this profession when you were at our house, a little kid. Your daddy gave you $500
Or something.
to invest.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
And every 5 minutes he will call the lady broker.
He was calling his broker.
Has my money increased, Daddy? So that's how he became into this field. I remember.
I thought it was the Monopoly game.
Yeah, it was the Monopoly.
Yeah, it was.
The life-changing Monopoly game with you.
No. Apparently, when they first met,
Yeah.
Dad cheated a Monopoly game.
Yeah.
They've been.
Every
Alright,
5
yeah,
minutes.